Cristiano Ronaldo's perfectionism is often presented as a beautiful success story. A boy from the island of Madeira believed in himself and, through discipline, became the best. But behind that discipline lies not only strength of character, but something close to an addiction to perfection. When training ends and the team heads to the showers, Ronaldo stays on the field, not because the coach asked him to. He cannot leave until he feels he has improved by 1 more percent. 10 more shots, 1 more sprint, 1 more set of abs. At some point, the pursuit of the ideals stops being a choice and becomes an internal command. It is no longer, I want to be better, but I have no right to be worse. His standards are so high that any deviation feels like a threat to himself. That is why he repeats movements until they become automatic, not for applause, but to silence the anxiety of imperfection. The cost of such a regime is almost invisible to fans. It is the inability to relax, to skip a workout spontaneously, or simply allow yourself a lazy evening without guilt. Perfection demands constant control, and control never takes a day off. Where football is a job for others, for him it is a state of mind he cannot leave. Loneliness at the top rarely looks dramatic. It reveals itself in small details, in how a person lives by a rhythm that does not match the lives around him. Cristiano Ronaldo's discipline is not just early wake-ups and training sessions. It is strict sleep schedules, controlled nutrition, recovery routines, and saying no to late parties and spontaneous meetups. Where the team spends the evening together, he chooses ice baths, massage, and sleep on schedule. Over time, this creates distance, not from arrogance, but from living at a different rhythm.
Teammates both admire him and feel the pressure of his standards. His presence raises the bar for everyone. You cannot train at half speed, carry extra weight, or lose concentration. He shows what the maximum looks like, and not everyone is ready to look into that mirror every day. Admiration coexists with tension. Beside him, any weakness becomes more visible. At the same time, Ronaldo is one of the most recognizable people on the planet. Millions of fans follow his life, copy his workouts, and celebrate his goals. Yet there are few equals beside him. Very few people understand what it means to live under constant pressure from expectations and one's own standards. The higher you climb, the smaller the circle of those who truly share your path. Cristiano Ronaldo's body is not just an athlete's tool, but a finely tuned system operating with near laboratory precision. His sleep is structured in recovery cycles, his nutrition measured to the gram, and his recovery routines take as much time as training itself. Cryotherapy chambers, ice baths, compression therapy, and strict rest schedules resemble the preparation of an astronaut more than the life of a footballer. Every metric is monitored: body fat percentage, muscle mass, hydration levels, recovery speed. It is a life under a constant microscope, where the slightest deviation is recorded and corrected. For most people, the body is part of everyday existence. For him, invests in his body the way a business invests in its key asset. Because he knows, in football, talent gives you a start, but longevity decides everything. And the main opponent here is not a defender on the pitch, but the limits of the human body. Cristiano Ronaldo long ago stopped being just a football player. He is a global brand, a symbol of success, discipline, and the ideal body. His name represents advertising contracts, hundreds of millions of followers, and influence that extends far beyond the football field. In the modern world, he does not just play. He represents a product, a lifestyle, and an idea of perfection. In such a role, mistakes become a luxury he cannot afford. Every word at a press conference is dissected into quotes. Every gesture on the field turns into a meme or a headline. Even emotions, joy, irritation, fatigue, are analyzed by cameras, experts, and millions of viewers. He lives under continuous observation, where any deviation from the image can trigger a wave of criticism. Over time, this transforms a person into a role. He must meet expectations: confident, strong, victorious, a role model for children, and an inspiration for adults. Spontaneity becomes a risk. Sincerity becomes a potential vulnerability. When the world is used to seeing you as a symbol, stepping outside that image becomes nearly impossible. You are no longer simply a person who plays football. You are a character created by reality and media, and the stage is never empty. Even off the pitch, the performance continues. Greatness in sport is measured in moments. For great players, the fear is not losing to a rival, but the day when the body stops responding as it once did, when the speed of thought outruns the speed of the legs. Losing the status of the best means losing part of one's identity.
Cristiano Ronaldo fights aging as a personal war against time. He extends his peak form where most careers have already ended. New recovery methods, strict routines, and constant adaptation of training are all aimed at slowing the inevitable. He changes his... What happens when you are no longer the fastest, the sharpest, the most decisive? In a world that has perceived you for decades as a symbol of superiority, decline is not just a sporting phase, but an existential transition. You can win the Champions League, break records, and collect every individual award, but the final opponent remains undefeated. And the ultimate question is not whether time can be stopped, but who you become when it finally catches up.